For 9 seasons, the Beverly Hillbillies made America laugh until it hurt. A family of poor mountain folk strike oil, move to Beverly Hills, and spend 9 years baffling the rich. The formula was simple. The stories behind the cast were anything but. Behind the laughter was a trail of broken marriages, secret struggles, quiet tragedies, and one surprise that nobody saw coming. These are the stories Hollywood never told you. Buddy Ebsen, Jed Clampett, Christian Ludolph Ebsen Jr. was born on April 2, 1908 in Belleville, Illinois. At 54, he stepped into the role of Jed Clampett, the calm, wise patriarch who led his family from poverty to an oil fortune and straight into Beverly Hills society. His steady warmth gave the entire series its backbone. Audiences trusted Jed the way you trust a grandfather. He never raised his voice. He never had to. But the man behind that warmth had already survived something most people never knew about. Before Beverly Hills, before television, before any of it, Buddy Ebsen was supposed to be the Tin Man. In 1939, he was cast in The Wizard of Oz. During filming, he inhaled aluminum dust from the silver makeup coating his face. His lungs seized. He was hospitalized, quietly replaced by Jack Haley, and left with respiratory damage that would follow every single breath for the rest of his life. How does a man nearly die inside a Hollywood costume and still dominate television for 4 more decades? Ebsen married 3 times. Ruth Cambridge could not withstand the pressure by 1945. Nancy Walcott lasted 40 years and 5 children before the marriage dissolved in 1985. Dorothy Knott gave him the quiet years he had finally earned. On set, he became a genuine mentor to Max Baer Jr. One real friendship that outlasted the cameras. No feuds, no drama, just steady professionalism from a man who already understood exactly what Hollywood could take from you. After the show ended, he escaped typecasting with Barnaby Jones, then returned as Jed one final time at 85. He embraced fans at conventions, loved every handshake, and never once complained about being remembered as a hillbilly. But the lungs never forgot 1939. Buddy Ebsen died on July 6, 2003 at 95 from respiratory failure. Net worth at death, $10 to $20 million. The slow-talking hillbilly was a world-class dancer who almost died making The Wizard of Oz, and turned out to be sharper than any banker in Beverly Hills. Irene Ryan, Granny Daisy Moses. Jessie. Irene Noblette was born on October 17, 1902 in El Paso, Texas. At 60, she took on the role of Granny, the fierce, hot-tempered matriarch who was the explosive heart of the Clampett clan. Her performance earned 2 Emmy nominations and made Granny one of the most unforgettable characters in television history. That fire was built on necessity. Ryan began performing at 11 years old to help feed her family, entering vaudeville before most children had finished grammar school. She worked alongside Bob Hope on radio and clawed through decades of small parts in an industry that routinely discarded women over 40. Marriage offered no rescue. Tim Ryan came in 1922 and the union collapsed under the weight of constant touring by 1942. Harold Knox dissolved in 1961. No children. Colleagues described her as someone who gave everything to her work and kept nothing back for herself. What most fans never realized was just how physically demanding Granny actually was. Ryan performed her own stunts, throwing herself into every scene with the full ferocity of someone half her age. Off camera, she lived modestly despite a top-tier salary, saving quietly while the industry assumed she would simply fade away. In 1973, at the age of 70, Ryan starred in Broadway's Pippin and earned a Tony nomination. The little old lady from the Beverly Hillbillies was proving everything Hollywood had always underestimated about her. But the stage betrayed her. She collapsed mid-performance. Doctors diagnosed an inoperable brain tumor alongside advanced heart disease. Even after the verdict, she tried to return. Her body forced her off for the last time. Irene Ryan died on April 26, 1973 in Santa Monica at 70. Net worth approximately $2 million, most of it left to theater scholarships. Granny had more fight than anyone in Beverly Hills ever gave her credit for. Donna Douglas, Ellie Mae Clampett. Doris Eone Smith was born on September 26, 1932, in Pride, Louisiana. On her 30th birthday exactly, she made her debut as Ellie Mae Clampett, the animal-loving, wholesome beauty who turned heads without ever losing her innocence. She beat out 500 actresses for the role. America loved her immediately. Behind the charm was a woman fighting to be seen as more than a pretty face. Douglas grew up hauling water before sunrise in rural Louisiana. She escaped to New York, modeled, and worked her way into television. Paul Henning saw exactly what he needed the moment she walked into the room, but the role that made her famous became the cage that trapped her. The Ellie Mae image followed her into every audition, every meeting, every conversation. Hollywood simply had nothing else to offer. She later said the character was both the best and worst thing that ever happened to her career. Her private life mirrored the struggle. She married Roland Bourgeois Jr. in 1949, had a son named Danny in 1954, and that marriage collapsed the same year. Her second marriage to director Robert Leeds ended by 1980. As acting roles disappeared, Douglas turned toward faith. She became a gospel singer, an inspirational speaker, an author. She left Hollywood and returned to Louisiana. Then came the fight she could not win. Diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, an illness often discovered far too late, her body weakened quickly. Her faith never wavered. Donna Douglas died on January 1, 2015 at 82. Net worth around $1 million. The girl who received more fan mail than anyone on the show rebuilt her entire life on gospel music and grace. Raymond Bailey, Milburn, Drysdale. Raymond Thomas Bailey was born on May 6, 1904 in San Francisco. At 58, he played Milburn Drysdale, the greedy, scheming banker desperate to keep the Clampett fortune inside his vault. His pinched, anxious expressions made Drysdale one of television's most satisfying comic villains. But the real Bailey had lived far rougher than any banker's polished office. As a young man, he tried and failed to break into Hollywood. He sailed as a merchant seaman across Asia and Europe. He worked on a pineapple plantation in Hawaii. He drifted through years of rejection before returning to acting in his 30s, slowly earning roles in The Incredible Shrinking Man and Vertigo. Success came late, and the long wait hardened him. Colleagues called him difficult and temperamental. He married Gabby George in 1951, and they remained together until his death. No children. As the show moved toward its final seasons, Bailey began showing the early signs of Alzheimer's disease. Lines disappeared. Memory lapses became visible on set. The sharp wit that had powered Drysdale for 9 seasons began eroding from the inside. By 1975, he retired from acting completely. The disease stripped away the very talent that had defined him. Raymond Bailey died of a heart attack on April 15, 1980 at 75 in Irvine, California. His ashes were scattered at sea. Net worth modest, far less than the fortune Drysdale spent 9 seasons trying to protect. The only genuinely self-made man in the cast had spent his career playing television's most recognizable snob. Nancy Culp, Jane Hathaway. Nancy Jane Culp was born on August 28, 1921 in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. At 41, she brought Jane Hathaway to life, the sharp bird-watching secretary who held Drysdale's chaos together with calm intelligence. Her Emmy-nominated performance gave the comedy its intellectual backbone. Nancy earned a journalism degree, a master's in English and French, and served in the Naval Reserve during World War II. When she turned toward acting, it felt to some like a betrayal of everything she had trained for. Marriage collapsed quickly. Charles Deuce in 1951, over by 1953. No children. Industry gossip about her sexuality followed her for decades, consistently pushing her toward supporting roles. Then came the betrayal that cut the deepest. In 1984, Culp ran for Congress. Buddy Ebsen, her on-screen partner for 9 seasons, publicly endorsed her opponent and branded her too liberal. The bond that audiences had assumed was genuine shattered in a single broadcast. She lost the election. The friendship died with it. People close to Culp said she never recovered from the shock. After the defeat, she retreated into academia. Cancer came in 1990. In a late interview, she made what many understood as a quiet acknowledgement of her sexuality, a moment that explained years of industry exile. Nancy Culp died on February 3, 1991 at 69, net worth $500,000. A multilingual veteran who almost became a congresswoman, undone in the end by the man who sat beside her for 9 years. Harriet McGibbon, Margaret Drysdale. Harriet Elizabeth McGibbon was born on October 5, 1905 in Chicago. At 57, she played Margaret Drysdale, the icy, imperious society wife who treated the Clampetts as a personal infestation. Her rigid elegance sharpened the show's class comedy. When her father died young, financial pressure pushed Harriet toward discipline rather than comfort. She found theater, built Broadway credibility from the 1920s onward. She married producer William Kane in 1930, had a son in 1933, and divorced in 1942. That same year, she married writer Charles White, and that relationship held steady until his death on Christmas Day 1967. Then came the blow that no parent ever fully survives. In 1977, her son died before her. Friends said she withdrew almost completely after the funeral. The woman who had spent decades commanding stages and screen rooms suddenly had no interest in being seen. The grief did not announce itself. It simply sat beside her every day in every room until the silence became permanent. Harriet McGibbon died on February 8, 1987, at 81 from pulmonary complications. Net worth around $1 million. The snootiest society wife on television had a great-grandfather who was an abolitionist and an Underground Railroad hero. Baer Benaderet, cousin Pearl Bodine. Beatrice Benaderet was born on April 4, 1906 in New York City. At 56, she played cousin Pearl Bodine. Most fans never knew she had originally auditioned for Granny and lost the role to Irene Ryan. But Paul Henning created Pearl specifically for her, then built an entire separate series, Petticoat Junction, around her talent. She had earned that loyalty through decades of work. She voiced characters on the Jack Benny program and was the original Betty Rubble on the Flintstones. Her first marriage to actor Jim Bannon in 1938 slowly unraveled under touring pressure. By 1950, she filed for divorce and raised 2 children on her own. In 1958, she found stability with sound technician Eugene Twombly. Quiet, steady, the kind of partnership that holds everything together. But behind the laughter of Petticoat Junction, B was carrying something devastating. A lung spot identified in 1963 returned aggressively in 1967. Diagnosed with cancer, she endured surgery and radiation while insisting on continuing to film. A lifelong heavy smoker, she had reduced but never fully escaped the damage already done. By September 1968, pneumonia had compounded everything. Baer Benaderet died on October 13, 1968, at 62 from lung cancer. Net worth $1.5 million. And then the cruelest footnote in Beverly Hillbillies history. 4 days later, Eugene Twombly suffered a massive heart attack and died. He was laid to rest beside her, as though he simply could not survive her absence. Max Baer Jr., Jethro Bodine Maximilian. Adelbert Baer Jr. was born on December 4, 1937 in Oakland, California. At 24, he played Jethro Bodine, the lovable, dim-witted nephew whose physical comedy powered the show's biggest laughs. He never auditioned. He drove his roommate to a casting call, got noticed standing in the background, was asked to read, and nailed it, without even attempting the accent. One accidental afternoon changed everything. What that moment gave him publicly, it destroyed privately. Typecasting crushed him completely. After the show ended, Hollywood saw only Jethro. Every audition ended the same way. He said it plainly. Jethro ruined me as an actor. He refused to participate in the 1981 reunion movie. He married Joanne Hill in 1966. The marriage ended by 1971. No children. In 2008, his longtime girlfriend, Sher Rhodes, died by suicide in his home. There are some losses that don't come with the right words. But here is where the story takes its sharpest and most unexpected turn. Instead of disappearing, Max Baer Jr. produced Macon County Line, a surprise box office hit that earned over $50 million. He pursued licensing deals, merchandise rights, and spent years developing a Beverly Hillbillies casino project. The business instinct that Jethro never once displayed on screen turned out to be the real Max Baer all along. As of 2026, Max Baer Jr. is alive at 88, net worth approximately $50 million. The character everyone called the dumbest man on television became the richest survivor of the entire cast. One accidental audition, one role he grew to resent, and a fortune that outlasted them all. The Beverly Hillbillies ran from 1962 to 1971. 9 seasons, hundreds of episodes, a cast of real people carrying real weight behind every punchline, aluminum-poisoned lungs that refused to quit, a 70-year-old woman conquering Broadway before her brain turned against her, a woman destroyed not by Hollywood, but by the colleague sitting beside her for 9 years, a grieving husband who followed his wife 4 days later, and a man everyone laughed at who quietly built a $50 million empire while nobody was watching. Some died with very little, some died alone, some never recovered from the roles that made them famous, and one is still here, 88 years old, worth more than any banker Drysdale ever dreamed of being. These were the Beverly Hillbillies, and what happened to them was never just about fame fading. It was about real people, carrying real lives, behind every laugh America ever got from that screen.